Video games banned for being too controversial.
This definitely takes the cake as probably the most violent thing I've played.
I think it is crazy for anyone to make a game where students are taught to beat their teachers up.
We are determined to stop a situation in which video games and violent content are being peddled to our children.
I don't think that helps.
Games are supposed to be fun, but some games are so disturbing that certain countries made them illegal. Today, we're looking at video games banned for being too controversial.
They actually were talking about Bully. I'm on Twitch right now. Link is in the description, so you should come join. Because if you don't...
You might have some of them right now, but in other parts of the world, it's a crime to play or even own these games. So my goal this year is to give you guys double the amount of videos without sacrificing quality, and to do that, we gotta keep growing. So 70% of you guys aren't subscribed, and it would mean
sir, that says 69.1. Why are you lying to me?
World to me if you did, and I promise to do my very best for you. Hydrate yourselves and enjoy. I'm Visual Venture, and you are awesome. Bully. In 2005, Rockstar Games announced a new game. It was called Bully, and just the name made people freak out.
They're coming out with a game where children can beat their teachers up, children can beat their classmates up.
These are things that are depicted in the game.
In the game, right.
The game wasn't even out yet, but people assumed that a game called Bully would make bullying seem cool, and that might increase violence in schools. As the complaints increased, Rockstar defended their game. They said it wasn't about being a bully, it was about fighting them. In the game, players controlled a character named Jimmy Hopkins. Jimmy was a student at Bulworth Academy, but Jimmy wasn't a bully. He protected weaker kids from bullies. That explanation calmed things down in the US, but in places like the UK and Australia, people still wanted it banned. So the creators of the game decided to change something. They renamed the game in certain countries. The new title was Canis Canem Edit. That means dog eat dog in Latin. But apart from the name change, everything else in the game stayed the same. In 2006, Bully was finally released. And when people actually played it, it wasn't nearly as dangerous as they expected. It was given a teen rating in the US and a 15 rating in the UK. But that didn't end the drama. Some powerful people still wanted this game gone. GTA, Jack Thompson was a lawyer famous for fighting against violent video games. And Bully was next on his list. He didn't care that the game was about stopping bullies. He believed it was way too violent for kids. So Thompson took Rockstar Games to court. He wanted Bully banned forever, off the shelves and out of homes. Unfortunately, things didn't go his way. Before making a final ruling, the judge did something unexpected. He played the game himself. After seeing what Bully was really like, he ruled that
the judge played the game. He was like, hold up, this game kind of lit. This game kind of fire.
There was no reason to ban it. This meant gamers in the US could keep playing Bully. But in Brazil, it was a different story. In 2008, the Brazilian government started cracking down.
Banned Bully, Fallout, Battlefield, Grand Theft Auto. Go. What can y'all play? Candy Crush? Is Candy Crush banned too? They probably don't got no Honey Pop in Brazil, bro. They probably can't even play Honey Pop in Brazil.
On violent video games. Bully was one of their main targets. A Brazilian court declared the game was too violent for young children and teenagers. The judge added, the aggravating factor is that everything in the game takes place inside a school. Stores in Brazil were given 30 days to pull it off the shelves. Anyone caught selling or even owning the game would have to pay a fine. Brazilian gamers smuggled pirated copies into the country, but the ban stayed in place for almost 10 years. It wasn't until 2016 that the ban was finally lifted. For the next game on our list, the controversy was because of one little girl, Miriam.
I don't know that
If you've ever played a horror game, you're used to jump scares and creepy music. But Miriam was scary in a different way. Players said the game was watching them, studying them like a stalker. Miriam was released in 2017. It was created by a developer from Saudi Arabia. It starts out like a typical horror game. You meet a pale girl with ghostly white hair standing alone in the dark. Her name is Miriam. She says she's lost and asks you to help her find her way home. At first, she asks for directions. Then she starts asking you personal questions like where do you live? What's your Facebook account? Those personal questions in the game made players uneasy. They began to suspect that Miriam was trying to trick them into giving away personal information. And that suspicion quickly turned into a rumor. Soon, police in the UAE caught wind of it. They issued a warning telling the public not to play Miriam, just in case the game was trying to steal their data.
Let's see if anyone has any Miriam gameplay on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, YouTubers will do anything if they think you can get views. So let's look at, yep, people definitely play Miriam. Lauren got a bag from Miriam. Goodness.
The game's creator quickly denied the rumors. He said the personal questions were just meant to scare players. There was no ulterior motive. To calm everyone down, he even let tech experts look into the game's code. They found nothing suspicious.
But
even if Miriam wasn't stealing data, people still didn't like it. Many players claimed the game was too sinister. It received a lot of negative reviews on game stores.
It's inappropriate and sick of someone
Hey, Lauren's back!
Make such a game that can damage people's minds and lives.
That might have to go into the playlist, because why are they acting like that?
As more people complained, the hashtag #BanMiriamGame trended across the Middle East. And in 2018, the UAE officially banned Miriam. They claimed the game was damaging to children's health. You've definitely heard of this next game, but you probably don't realize that it has a dark past. GTA San Andreas.
Okay, I was like, definitely heard of it. GTA is the only game I could think of.
GTA San Andreas. The GTA series was already a hit, mainly because of the crime, chaos, and violence. But Sam Houser, the co-founder of Rockstar Games, wanted to push the limits. With GTA San Andreas, he didn't just want violence. He wanted to add bedroom scenes. So the developers created a part of the game where players could engage in intimate acts with in-game characters.
And it was more than a simple cutscene. No, it was a full.
Can I get full-time events?
The minigame was pretty simple. First, your in-game girlfriend would invite you in for coffee.
You want to have some coffee?
If you said yes, you entered a room where you controlled all the action, if you get what I mean. But there was just one problem. Because the minigame contained adult content, GTA San Andreas would get an adults-only rating. Adults-only games can only be sold to adults. That meant Rockstar could lose millions of dollars in sales because kids wouldn't be able to buy it. The company didn't want to lose money, so at the last minute they decided to remove the minigame. However, GTA San Andreas was almost done, so removing it was complicated. That's when they came up with a really bad idea. Instead of fully removing it was complicated. Why
do you have a bunch of holes in your shirt? Like, were you part of that 1v100 against that gorilla and you barely came out alive? Like, what? Why yo?
That's when they came up with a really bad idea. Instead of fully deleting the intimate bedroom scene, they buried it deep inside the game's code. They assumed no one would discover it. They were wrong. In October 2004, GTA San Andreas launched, and within a month, a gamer named Patrick W discovered
He looked like he would find it too,
minigame.
bro. He looked like he was locked in searching for it. I know I can clap cheeks in this game. I wanna do it.
But Patrick W wasn't just a regular gamer. He was also a modder. He started messing with the game's code and figured out how to unlock the hidden minigame. From there, he developed the Hot Coffee mod. With this mod, anyone playing GTA San Andreas on a PC could access the explicit bedroom.
I thought you were about to show me a group of kids just about to play the sex scene together, because that would have been crazy if that was the case.
Anyone playing GTA San Andreas on a PC could access the explicit bedroom content. In June 2005, Patrick uploaded the Hot Coffee mod to GTAGarage.com. It was downloaded over 1 million times within 4 weeks. Now, players...
What is it, in 045? 1 million downloads in a month in 05. So you're not even able to like spread it around. Like, imagine this dropped with like TikTok or something. It might have did like 6-7 million downloads. That is so crazy. Nah, Patrick low-key a legend for that.
Downloaded over 1 million times within 4 weeks. Now, players all over the world had access to an explicit minigame with a bedroom scene, and they loved it. Game chat rooms were buzzing with excitement, but soon people started to realize what this actually meant, and it wasn't good. When GTA San Andreas was first released, it was rated mature. That meant only kids 17 and older were allowed to buy it. But now, the Hot Coffee mod unlocked bedroom scenes, making the game inappropriate for anyone under 18.
But that's a mod though. How is that not their
thousands
fault.
of kids already bought it. In other words,
Like,
an
that's just
adult
a
game
mod.
was in the hands of children. Parents and politicians were furious.
We are determined to stop a situation in which video games and violent content are being peddled to our children.
Parents didn't just want the explicit minigame removed. They wanted GTA San Andreas banned. During the controversy, Rockstar released a statement. They acted like they didn't create the adult minigame. Instead, they blamed the modders for adding it.
Yeah,
Other gamers
talk to
turned
him.
against Patrick W. They accused him of ruining San Andreas' reputation.
Wait. No, okay, guys. Listen, Patrick is still a goat. Can't believe y'all turned on him that quick. Really? You know what's a crazy thought? I don't know why it's crazy to me, but I think it's just like GTA just feels like such a childhood game to me that I'm thinking about people who were like 40 years old. They used to play GTA back in the day. But I'm like, dang, you were playing GTA and you're 40? Like, I'd understand if you said something about like Pac-Man or Tetris, but GTA? Like, this game is old as hell.
As people ranted in the gaming
franchise is
forums,
old.
one player made a key
Like,
point. They
40
can't
playing
blame Patrick
GTA?
W for this mod because he didn't make it, he just enabled it. And that's when the Entertainment Software Rating Board launched an investigation.
Not just 40 playing GTA. You're 40 saying, yeah, I used to play GTA all the time when I was younger. Yeah, when I was 20, you were playing GTA at 20?
They had one big question. Was this adult
You're 40.
minigame really modded in by players, or had Rockstar hidden it all along? It didn't take long to figure it out.
That this content wasn't created by the modding community. It was there all along, and Rockstar must have known this.
Rockstar was caught red-handed. Once the truth came out, things went downhill for Rockstar Games.
That the Federal Trade Commission should investigate the publication of the video game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to determine if the publisher intentionally deceived the Entertainment Software Ratings Board to avoid an adults-only rating.
Before Rockstar could respond, the ratings board made a decision. They changed San Andreas' rating from mature to adults only. It was the first GTA game to get an adults-only rating, and that had serious consequences.
There were many retailers across the US just pulling San Andreas altogether while it has an adults-only rating.
Since it was now an adult game, hundreds of stores in the US pulled it from their shelves. The game was also banned in Australia and many Asian countries. There was only one way Rockstar could fix this mess. They recalled all copies of GTA San Andreas. Then they removed the explicit minigame and released a version that couldn't run the hot coffee mod. That lifted the ban in Australia, but the damage was done. The scandal and recall cost Rockstar millions of dollars in sales. And even after the release, San Andreas remained banned in several Asian countries.
We don't care.
This next game was accused of embarrassing an entire country.
No,
Battlefield 4.
We don't care where it's banned at. They got hold, okay? Every game should have a little bit of sex in it. I don't know why they tried to think they could get past the federal government and say, oh, we didn't know this was in here. It was the modders' fault. You're talking about the feds right now. That's the last person you want to, that's the last group of people y'all want to be lying to. The feds? Like,
in the early 2010s, Battlefield was one of the best first-person shooter games around.
When I was younger, Battlefield was really going around, but I was a COD kid, so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to Battlefield. I wish I could have enjoyed Battlefield when it was at its peak, because I heard it's not that good no more.
It's actually one of my favorite games back then. Battlefield 1, 2, and 3 were insanely popular, so when Battlefield 4 was announced, fans expected another great game. And that's exactly what they got. Battlefield 4 launched in October 2013, and it was an instant hit. But just 2 months later, that game sparked an international crisis.
No.
In December 2013, EA released the first DLC for Battlefield 4. They called it China.
That already sounds problematic. That already sounds extremely problematic. China Rising, oh no.
China Rising. China Rising had cool maps, weapons, and missions, but the story was extremely controversial. In the game, a Chinese admiral tries to overthrow the government. To stop him, the US military has to swoop in and save the day. China's government did not like this story. In In fact, they hated it. Officials called the game a
surprised.
national security threat. They said it made China look bad in the eyes of the world. Chinese news reports labeled it a new form of cultural penetration and aggression. Everyone thought China would just ban the DLC, but the government had a much bigger plan. China banned the entire game.
And Battlefield 4 just can't seem to catch a break. In addition to connectivity issues over the weekend,
China
the game has
too big to
also been
lose all
banned
their
in China for
customers.
endangering Chinese national security.
China ordered stores in the country to remove every copy of Battlefield 4. Chinese websites weren't even allowed to mention the game. It was the first time China banned a game in more than 8 years. Some Chinese players tried to avoid the ban by smuggling the game in from other countries, but the government blocked those moves. They
Smuggling games like it's drugs is hilarious when you think about it. Hey guys, okay, we got a new shipment of a Battlefield 4 coming in. Okay, we just have to go around that block right there into that province, and we gotta get the package before the feds get us. Okay, they've been walking around there lurking. We have to tiptoe.
Possible to find the game anywhere in China. Battlefield 4 was popular all over the world, but in China, it was like it never existed. Gamers love it when a game tries something new, but in this next story, being different got this game banned. Carmageddon. Carmageddon came out in the late 90s, but it wasn't your usual racing game. Instead of punishing reckless driving, the game rewarded it. Players were encouraged to smash cars, run over pedestrians, and destroy everything in sight. The more chaos they caused on the road, the more points they got. Gamers thought Carmageddon was awesome, but for governments around the world, it was a serious problem. They felt the game encouraged reckless driving, and that could lead to real-life danger on the roads. To stop that from happening, some countries took drastic measures. Several countries, including Brazil and Argentina, banned Carmageddon completely. But in the UK, it turned into a messy back and forth. Every game sold in the UK had to be approved by the British Board of Film Classification, or BBFC. But when the BBFC saw Carmageddon, they refused to give it a rating until the violent parts were removed. Without the rating, the game couldn't be sold in the UK. Carmageddon creators fought back. They said the violence was no worse than what you'd see in Tom and Jerry. But
low-key, that's a nice comeback. Because Tom and Jerry, they were doing nonsense.
The BBFC didn't budge. Carmageddon needed to be less gory, or it'd never be sold in the UK.
Turned it green?
Eventually, the game developers gave in. They made a new version where pedestrians were replaced with zombies, and instead of red blood, they had green goo. That way, it wouldn't look like it was encouraging real-life violence. The authorities were satisfied and allowed the game to be released in the UK. But what happened next made the BBFC look like fools. Not long after the censored version was released, something strange showed up online. It was a patch for the game, and it brought everything back. Zombies were swapped out for humans again. Green goo turned into red blood. It turns out that the patch was created by one of the original developers who worked on Carmageddon. Even worse, the game's publishers knew about it, but they didn't lift a finger to stop it. When the BBFC found out, they were furious. They felt tricked. First, the publishers got the rating by censoring the game.
Yeah, we don't care about the BBFC.
They brought back the violent version with a hidden patch. The BBFC took the game to court. For 10 months, they battled it out in court. But in the end, the BBFC lost. The BBFC's decision to ban the game was overturned. And the original Carmageddon, full of blood and gore, was released in the UK. Most games get banned because of what's in them. But this next game got in trouble because of what the players were doing. Roblox.
Roblox is banned? What country banned in Roblox? Yo, what country is banning Roblox? Let's be so for real, bro. Let me guess, Minecraft is going to be banned. Wherever country Roblox is banned, that country needs to be watched, because how are y'all banning Roblox?
I know we all know what Roblox is, but what you probably didn't know was that it was banned in an entire country. Roblox is one of the biggest online gaming platforms in the world, but behind all the fun and games, there's a dark side. Roblox is filled with young kids, but it also has a huge number of adult players. And when you put those two groups together, bad things can happen. Roblox has become a hunting ground for Preds. Every year, there are new reports of this happening.
Expired, I thought you were 10?
Where monsters are among us. Police say the 30-year-old girl met Graham on Roblox.
Wow.
Despite all the stories, it doesn't look like Roblox is doing enough to stop it. Roblox has a history of ignoring problems that don't directly affect their profits. It's almost like all they care about is money. Back in 2022, I said something that can still apply today. I mean, to me, it's pretty clear that Roblox doesn't see its users as people. To them, we're just walking money bags waiting to be empty. At the time, I was talking specifically about Roblox's payment system, but in a way, it applies to the platform as a whole. It seems that Roblox's top priority isn't safety, it's making money. They focus on getting more users and growing their business. Everything else, including protecting young users, comes second. Since Roblox isn't doing enough, some countries decided to act. One of them was Turkey. On August 7th, 2024, Turkey officially banned Roblox. They released a statement saying they did it to ensure the protection of Turkish children.
You know what? Sometimes, like, you gotta congratulate for a country standing on it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to congratulate them for standing on it. They like, hey, this is like a threat. We gotta get rid of it. But now the Turkish kids, they're just watching Roblox on YouTube like, man, if only. Dang it! You know what I'm saying?
At first, Turkey banning Roblox didn't seem like a big deal. That was until people realized Turkey had the 5th largest Roblox player base in the world. Roblox didn't want to lose millions of users, so they tried to negotiate.
I'm going to assume it's the US, China, India, Canada, Turkey. Like, that's what I would just assume. I don't know.
Negotiate with Turkish officials to lift the ban, but the government wouldn't budge. Turkey refused to let Roblox back in. After that, other countries started thinking about banning Roblox too. This means that if Roblox doesn't take safety more seriously, more bans could be on the way. This next game was banned because people feared it could turn players into substance addicts.
Schedule 1?
Fallout 3.
Oh.
Open world. Problem with Fallout 3. When German authorities saw the game's brutal combat scenes, they refused to approve it because it was way too violent.
Notice how the US is never propping up as one of the places that has a problem with any of the games. We just let everything slide. We don't care. The only thing we had a problem with was what? The nudity in GTA. And that was because the rating was wrong. Like, we just have everything. Everything slides here, bro.
The game's developers were forced to remove most of the graphic content. And when they did, Fallout 3 was released in Germany. But Fallout's problems weren't over. Japan also had an issue with the game. In one mission, players could set off a nuclear bomb. Unfortunately, Japan has a tragic history with nuclear attacks, so this part of the game was deeply offensive to them. To avoid getting banned, the developers removed the bombing mission from the Japanese version. But even after all that, Fallout wasn't done.
What games do America have banned? For America to ban a game, I feel like that game has to be extremely vile.
In trouble, and this time there was no fixing it. In the game, players run into two-headed mutant cows. And this time there was no fixing it. In the game, players run into two-headed mutant cows called Brahmin, but in India this caused outrage. Brahmin is a Hindu word. Furthermore, cows are sacred in Hinduism. Many Indians felt the game was being disrespectful, but unlike other countries like Australia or Germany, India didn't ask for changes. They just banned Fallout 3. And to this day,
this just makes me realize how much the US stands on nothing. We don't stand on nothing, bro. They banned it because of a two-headed cow. America would never. It doesn't matter what religion or what anything is being dissed. They're not banning a game over something like that, bro. We literally have with Hitler games on Steam. Like they don't care over here, bro.
Today, it's still banned in India. When this next game got banned, no one was surprised. It was just too extreme. Manhunt 1 and 2.
I don't know that.
Manhunt was released in 2003, and it's still one of the most controversial games ever. In the game, you play as James Earl Cash. Cash is a death row inmate about to be executed by lethal injection. But right before it happens, he wakes up. He realizes he was just sedated. Then a mysterious voice starts speaking to Cash. The voice introduces himself as the director. He tells Cash there's one way out, one last shot at freedom, but only if Cash follows his instructions.
Do exactly as I say, and this will be over before the night is out.
The problem is that the director's instructions are all about ending lives. Cash is told to hunt down enemies and take them out using whatever he can find. Glass shards, baseball bats, plastic bags,
so this is
anything
like
becomes a weapon. What made Manhunt even worse was how real it all felt. The people Cash hunted in the game showed fear and desperation. And then came the twist. Cash found out he was actually starring in a film. All his brutal acts were being filmed by the director.
You're doing fine, Cash, just fine. We're getting some great material here.
The game also
what's a film? I feel like I've heard it, but I have no clue what that means. A corn movie of an actual murder. Okay, a pornographic film that shows an actual murder of its performers. Oh, okay. That's America, baby.
Had kidnapping, substances, and so many more illegal acts I can't even tell you.
That's America, baby.
All in all, Manhunt was deeply disturbing and people were furious. The game was even called a murder simulator. In the US, parents and politicians demanded an immediate ban. They were scared the game might inspire real-life aggression, especially among young people. But somehow, Manhunt slipped through. It was never banned in the US, but other countries weren't as forgiving. New Zealand, Malaysia, South Korea, and Saudi Arabia all banned Manhunt as soon as it was released. But that was nothing compared to what happened in the UK. In July 2004, a boy took the life of his close friend. Almost instantly.
Why does the boy have a gun if they're in the UK? Just asking a simple question. You said they were in the UK. I don't think he would have had a gun.
In July 2004, a boy took the life of his close friend. Almost instantly, tabloids in the UK jumped on the story. They reported that the culprit was obsessed with Manhunt, suggesting the game inspired the crime. But when police investigated, they found out the culprit didn't even own the game. But it was too late. Manhunt was now tied to a real-life tragedy. Its reputation got even worse.
They see something that had nothing to do with it. Yo, the government.
And more countries, including Australia and Germany, banned the game too. But after all this bad press, Rockstar Games did something no one saw coming. They made a sequel to Manhunt. In 2007, Rockstar Games released Manhunt 2, and somehow it was even more disturbing than
Rockstar does not care.
This definitely takes the cake as probably the most violent thing I've played.
The sequel introduced a new feature called Levels of Execution. The game encouraged players to eliminate their targets in brutal ways to get more points, and people were not okay with that. Soon, they were talking about the game in Congress.
The new video is called Manhunt 2, and at the state capitol, it's creating ripples over the rating system for these games.
In the US, Manhunt 2 was rated adults only. Major stores refused
at least it's rated the right
consoles like PlayStation and Nintendo blocked it.
Tonight, a violent video game pulled from store shelves.
Manhunt 2 has been the target of criticism since its release a week ago. Now Target is doing something about it.
To save the game, Rockstar blurred some of the violent scenes and cut out the worst parts. That version got a mature rating in the US and could finally be sold. But even the toned down version was still too much. Manhunt 2 got banned in Germany.
Notice how it just gets toned down. It's never banned.
Malaysia, Australia, and South Korea, among others. The game was just too intense. If there's one thing these bans prove, it's that games are powerful. They can shape how people think, feel, and act. And I know
the one thing these bans prove is that the US don't stand on nothing.
I know I sound like an old person, but at the end of the day, we have to be more careful about what we play, because games influence us more than we realize. Visual Venture.
I agree with you, Visual Venture. I can't see myself playing a game like Manhunt. The description of it just it already feels too much, to be honest. I don't know. It it has a different feel than GTA. I don't know what GTA does that makes it feel less real, but that manhunt looked like it felt a little bit more real than GTA. Wonderful video, visual adventures.